Here's a full-length script, about 3,500-4,000 words, you can use or adapt for your YouTube video. Car operation, about the 1970 Bedford J-type truck. You can read it out, or break parts into voiceover plus B-roll footage. Hello everyone and welcome back to Car Operation. Today we have something truly special and rare to talk about, the 1970 Bedford J-type truck. This is not your everyday modern truck. This is a piece of automotive history, a classic workhorse with character, quirks, beauty, and a story. Over the course of this video, I will take you inside and out, look at performance, usability, pros and cons, and even estimate what you might pay for one today. So strap in, because this is going to be a deep dive. Let me set the scene first. The Bedford J-Type, or more broadly the Bedford TJ series, is a line of medium-duty trucks built by Bedford, a British manufacturer, starting in the late 1950s and continuing for decades in various forms. In many markets, especially in former British Commonwealth countries, variants of the J per Terra Joule trucks were heavily used, modified, and run well beyond their original service lives. By 1970, the design was mature, parts were well known, and many owners appreciate its simplicity and robustness. Though I call it 1970 Bedford J-Type, there are a few possible subvariants J0, J1, J2, J3, up through J6 depending on chassis strength, payload, and body type. The one we focus on today is in good condition and mostly restored, so we'll examine what it's like now, what it would have been when new, and what it can do in modern times. Let's start by walking around the exterior and chassis, what you see, the body, wheels, trim, etc. From the outside, a 1970 Bedford J has a rugged, utilitarian look. The front is characterized by a simple bonnet hood, a bold grille, round headlamps, or in some cases dual lamps depending on region, and heavy steel bumper. There are no frills, this is a tool truck first. The fenders are pronounced, and the cab is a normal control layout, engine ahead of driver rather than cab over. The sheet metal is thick, the lines are boxy but muscular. Because it was made for tough duty, things like hood latches, hinges, door handles, and body seams are all reinforced, and the body panels can take some abuse. Because many of these trucks have been restored or modified over decades, you will often see new paint, patched steel, newer lights, extra mirrors, and sometimes even custom additions like extra steps, grab rails, or decorative trim. But in a well-restored original, the look remains clean and purposeful. The bed or cargo body, flatbed, dropside, tipper, van body, or other configurations, is usually built on a strong ladder frame chassis. The frame rails are heavy, with crossmembers and reinforcements. The rear bed is often wood or steel boards with protective side rails. In many trucks, the load bed is a bit worn or patched, but that gives character. The bed length on some variants could be quite long, up to 20 feet or more in total length, with the rear overhang. One listing for a 1970 J3 dropside mentions a total length of 20 feet and a 14 feet dropside body. The body is utilitarian but functional. If you look underneath, you'll see leaf spring suspension front and rear, a solid rear axle, drive shaft, exhaust pipe, fuel tank, brake lines, and usually minimal underbody shielding. The simplicity is a virtue. Everything is accessible and repairable. One thing to note, over the decades, many trucks get rust, frame repair, patching, and welding. So a pristine original is rare. But good examples show strong metal where it matters, straight frame rails, and solid joints. One more aesthetic note, many enthusiasts convert these trucks into food trucks, show vehicles, or creative projects. For example, a restored 1971 J-Type was converted into an Indian food truck in London. So you may see interior trim, windows, lighting, and other touches not original to the vehicle, but sympathetic to the old bones. Now let's open the doors and step into the interior. Bear in mind these trucks were never about luxury, they were built to transport goods, not pamper drivers. But the interior has its own charm. First impression, Spartan. Seats are often bench style or split bench, covered in vinyl or durable fabric. Padding is minimal. The seating position is upright, visibility is good, the dashboard is metal, simple gauges, knobs, switches, and bare essentials. There's usually no fancy trim, no carpeting, or no elaborate panels. The door cards may be bare metal or simple trim inserts, handles are mechanical levers, window cranks are mechanical, and interior trim is basic. The steering wheel is large, often thin-rimmed, offering mechanical leverage, helpful when no power steering. The instrument cluster typically includes speedometer, fuel gauge, oil pressure, water temperature, ammeter or battery charge gauge, and warning lights. The layout is logical but unadorned. Flooring tends to be metal or basic rubber mats. There may be padding or insulation in certain restored versions. Noise, vibration, and harshness are present. You will hear engine, chassis, exhaust, and road. But that is part of the experience. The pedals, clutch, brake, throttle, are mechanical and heavy compared to modern vehicles. The shift lever is tall and mechanical, gear throws are long. You shift through a 4-speed manual gearbox in many versions. For example, one 1970 Bedford J3 listing states 4 speeds manual. There's no synchro on first gear in many of these older gearbox designs, so you may ram it in when required. The gear action is not slick like modern cars. There's feel, mechanical feedback, and occasional grinding if shifts are not clean. Visibility is generous. Large windows, upright windshield, big side windows. In many trucks the ground just in front of the driver can be seen partially, though a portion immediately in front may be hidden by the bonnet. In many older Bedford designs, visibility was improved over earlier models by lowering the forward blind spot. In the successor, M, models, you could see ground just in front, but for J-types, you get decent visibility for its era. Mirrors are simple, external side mirrors on arms. No fancy electric mirrors. Comfort is minimal. There might be crude heating or ventilation, sometimes only via a heater matrix or vents. No air conditioning in original form. Wind noise, engine noise, and wind buffeting are part of the ride. Headroom and legroom are usually acceptable, though depending on cab size. Some later conversion or restoration work may add padding or upholstery to make the cabin more pleasant. In the London project, the interior seats were reupholstered and new trim panels added. It's never going to match a modern truck, but part of the charm is authenticity. Maintenance access inside can be practical. You can often remove panels or access wiring, heater core, or mechanical linkages. The simplicity means owners frequently do hands-on work. Let's move on to performance, mechanics, and drive impressions. Under the hood, or rather ahead of the cab, you'll likely find a straight 6 petrol engine, often in the 214 cu in 3.5 L displacement in many J per terajoule variants. Other variants had diesel engines 200 cu, 220 cu, Perkins options depending on market and model. In the petrol versions, the overhead valve 6 is simple and robust. According to specs, the 214 petrol offers net output around 86 bhp at 3,400 revolutions per minute, with torque around 170 pound-feet, or equivalent, at low RPM. That gives modest but usable power for its intended use. The low gearing, heavy frame, and moderate speeds mean it's not fast, but it's built to haul, not to race. Expect a top speed somewhere in the 50 to 60 mph, 80-100 km/h range when lightly loaded. Heavily loaded, speeds drop and acceleration is slow. Acceleration from standstill is deliberate, merge with care. But torque in the low rev range gives it the grunt to start moving with heavy load. The 4-speed manual gearbox, often with non-synchromesh first gear, is sturdy but not slick. Shifting requires mechanical precision. Drop to second, third, fourth. Some drivers may double clutch or blip the throttle when shifting. Over decades, gearbox parts may wear, so good restorations often include new synchro, bushings, or full rebuilds. The transmission drives a prop shaft to the rear differential and axle, which is a simple solid beam with leaf springs. Rear is usually non-independent, heavy-duty. Suspension is leaf springs front and back, with shock absorbers. Ride quality is firm and rugged. You'll feel road imperfections, bounce, and chassis flex, especially when empty. When loaded, the springs compress and ride stabilizes, though shock control is important. The design is robust rather than supple. Off-road or rough roads are handled decently for its era, but with care, avoid hard cornering or extreme terrain. Braking is via drum brakes front and rear in many original trim. Some conversions or restorations upgrade to hydraulic servo or improved shoes. The truck's weight and load demands strong brakes. In original form you'll need to anticipate and brake early. Steering is mechanical, non-power assist, so at low speeds the effort is high. Once moving, the weight helps, but maneuvering requires muscle. The steering geometry is simple, and you may feel play or lash if joints are worn. Fuel consumption is on the thirsty side, especially for such age. In light use you might get modest economy, but fully loaded or in hill work, expect high fuel usage. The Big Six, heavy frame, and mechanical design are not efficient by modern standards. Reliability is one of this truck's strengths if well maintained. Because the design is simple, mechanical, and parts are fabricatable equivalents exist, it can be kept running. Many old trucks like this are still on the road decades after original service, especially in developing markets. The simplicity means fewer electronics to fail, and owners often know how to fix things themselves. Handling is utilitarian. Expect body roll, wallow, and slow turn in. Don't expect sporty cornering, this is a haul truck. On highways or straight roads, it's stable, though crosswinds may buffet it. When laden, handling improves somewhat. When empty, be cautious. Drive gently, anticipate weight transfer, brake early, and steer smoothly. Overall, the experience is raw and tactile. You feel mechanical links, hear engine burble, vibration, chassis flex. It's not refined, but it has character. If I were behind the wheel now, I'd feel respect for the engineering and history more than modern expectations. Now let's talk about durability, restoration challenges, common issues, and usability. Restoring and owning a truck of this age always involves trade-offs. Rust is the enemy. Frame rails, cab floors, sills, door gaps, bed floors, and fender edges often suffer. Good restoration means repairing these areas with clean steel, reinforcing weak spots, and ensuring strong welds. Checking frame alignment is critical. A bent or twisted frame is dangerous. Mechanical wear is expected. Engine bearings, camshaft, valves, pistons, rings, gaskets, heads, carburetors or injectors, if diesel variant, fuel pump, cooling system, radiator, water pump, hoses, all may need overhaul. The gearbox, clutch, differential, driveshaft, universal joints, bearings, bushings, all merit inspection or replacement. Brake drums, wheel cylinders, lines, hoses need replacement. Steering linkages, tie rod ends, kingpins, etc. may need fresh parts. Electrical wiring often must be redone. Old insulation degrades, wiring may be brittle, corroded, or modified over the years. Parts availability is a challenge. Some parts may be rare, but many Bedford enthusiasts or truck parts suppliers may help source or fabricate replacements. In some markets, trucking parts from similar era vehicles or modular solutions may be adapted. Fabrication skills are necessary. Restorers often must machine, weld, or adapt parts to fit. Patience is essential. When restored well, these trucks are usable, but don't expect daily modern convenience. These are best for occasional drives, shows, light usage, or special purposes, food truck, display, vintage hauling. Long highway trips could be stressful unless mechanical systems are top-notch. Cooling, lubrication, reliability are all areas to overbuild modestly. One major challenge is road legality, registration, and emissions compliance if your jurisdiction requires it. Some places may register it as historic or classic, with lenient rules. Others may require modifications, exhaust, lights, signals, safety to meet road standards. Ensure legal compliance before driving on public roads. Also, because the cab is not aerodynamic and wind buffeting is strong, consider adding wind deflectors, door seals, and insulation in a sympathetic way. For comfort, modern adaptations, better seats, improved insulation, sound deadening can help, but balance authenticity and usability. Now to the price, valuation, and market. How much would a 1970 Bedford J-type truck cost today? The answer is, it depends heavily on condition, restorations, originality, location, and demand. I found a listing for a 1970 Bedford J3 manual, fully restored, with engine rebuilt, for sale in Australia. It mentioned more than $15,000 in work done, historic registration, and good condition. That gives a ballpark for well-restored examples in decent markets. Another listing in the UK shows a 1970 J3 dropside with original 220 diesel, restored wiring, good mechanicals, asking around £3,550. That's a more modest restoration in the UK market. Prices in other markets vary widely. In Pakistan, Bedford trucks have cult status, especially J5, J6, and many still operate. But for a classic 1970 in good, restored condition, you might expect a premium. Custom restorations, transport costs, parts sourcing all add up. If the truck is in poor condition, rust, non-functional parts, incomplete, value is largely in the frame, salvageable components, or as project material. But if it's fully restored, roadworthy, with good mechanicals, the price could range into tens of thousands USD or equivalent local currency depending on market. It's not going to be cheap. You are paying for rarity, parts, labor, and the story. As you consider value, also think of running costs, fuel, maintenance, insurance, registration, transport if imported. A beautifully restored J-type is not just an asset but ongoing commitment. Now, talking about comparisons, pros, cons, and buyer advice. Pros. Simplicity. Mechanical, straightforward design means easier diagnosis and repair even in remote places. Durability. Built to haul, these trucks are rugged and can last if treated well. Character. They have presence, history, and nostalgia, perfect for classic enthusiasts, show vehicles, conversion projects, food trucks, mobile displays. Parts adaptability. Many mechanical components can be adapted or fabricated. Community support may exist among vintage truck enthusiasts. Story and uniqueness. A 1970 Bedford J is uncommon nowadays. Owning one is having a rolling piece of history. Cons. Efficiency. Fuel, emissions, and power are low compared to modern trucks. Comfort. Noise, vibration, harshness are part of the experience. Interiors are basic. Parts availability. Some parts may be rare or expensive, and fabrication is often required. Handling, braking, and safety. Vintage designs lag modern standards in braking, steering, crash safety. Legal and regulatory hurdles. Roadworthiness, registration, compliance can be tricky. Maintenance burden. Even a restored example needs care, especially for aging mechanicals. If you're considering buying one, here's advice. Inspect thoroughly. Check frame straightness, rust, welds, metal integrity. Check mechanicals. Engine compression, leak down, oil condition, cooling, gasket condition. Examine the gearbox, clutch, differential, driveshaft. Review suspension, bearings, steering joints. Inspect brakes, lines, drums, shoes, master cylinder. Evaluate wiring, lights, switches. Ask about history, receipts, restoration documentation. Consider the cost and availability of parts in your region. Estimate operating cost, fuel, maintenance, taxes. If possible, test drive or have someone do it to feel how it handles, shifts, accelerates, brakes. Factor transport or import costs if not local. Plan for modifications or upgrades, safety, comfort with sensitivity to originality. Finally, let me paint a picture. Imagine driving this truck down a quiet country road. Engine burbling behind you, the smell of hot metal, the wind through the doors, the road vibrations. You feel connected to the mechanics, to history. It's not about speed, it's about presence, about craftsmanship, about nostalgia. It's a vehicle you respect, not dominate. In summary, the 1970 Bedford J-type truck is a living relic. It's not better than modern trucks in many metrics, but it offers something different: durability, a mechanical soul, and a story. If you find a well-restored example, and you have the heart and resources to maintain it, it can be a rewarding experience. That's it for today's deep dive on the 1970 Bedford J-type. If you liked this video, please hit like, subscribe to Car Operation, share with fellow classic truck lovers, and comment below, have you ever seen one in person? Would you drive one daily? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and until next time, drive safe, enjoy the journey, and may all your restorations stay on the road.